I'm surprised he hasn't brought the piano out yet. I'm waiting for Sid to bring the piano out and just randomly play it. Supposedly, according to the leaks, Saga of Tanya the Evil is getting a new season next year, so he's finally getting more. Look at his little face, man. He looks so good in the chibi form. It's truly impressive how much they make these characters feel like they were written by their authors. Like, look at that. That's just a bobblehead. But then you look at Megami, blends well. Even Garf blended well. Some of the Saga of Tanya the Evil characters, not so much though. They very much got the short end of the stick. Something tells me the concepts of her growing a beautiful flower has more than one ways to be interpreted than just actually growing a flower. You guys shouldn't lose. Like, you literally have Goddess of Water on your hands, and yet you guys are gonna come in dead last with the most crumpled up flowers. Wait. This is the crew we're working with? She ain't gonna do shit. Musclehead, he ain't gonna do shit. Ainz will give an honest-to-go shot. Ram might give it an honest-to-go shot, but she's gonna get bored and quit. And I don't know, but I've got a lot of faith in Tanya, I gotta be real. Actually, thinking about it, would Sid like Darkness? Mainly because her name's Darkness. It's impressive. In a lot of ways, I truly think Isekai Quartet is one of the most impressive isekai anime to have ever existed, and maybe ever exist. Because if it was only one season, maybe not, but we're up to 3 seasons in a movie, and they've never jumped the shark with how they write things. I'm legitimately starting to wonder if Isekai Quartet might be the most impressive and interesting isekai of the modern age. And I'm not even saying that as an exaggeration for clickbait, I'm legitimately considering this fact. And before you think, Brandon, how could a dumb little comedy series about a bunch of isekai characters being isekai'd again into one little cute school adventure be one of, if not the most impressive? But here's the thing you have to consider. When Season 1 came out, it was a quartet. You had 4 series merged together in one isekai school. You got the ReZero characters, you got the Saga of Tanya the Evil characters, Overlord characters, and Konosuba characters. And there's an argument to be made. Any basic scriptwriter could probably make the Konosuba and ReZero characters work in a funny way. Hell, even Overlord. Saga of Tanya the Evil, I would personally argue it takes a bit of creative juice to be able to pull that off because it's such a different feeling show from the others. But being able to do 1 season of that and have it land and feel like, oh man, these actually feel like the characters. While impressive, it's not going to be anywhere close to the best. But if you get into a Season 2, and hell, even into a movie, and you're still able to feel like, okay, they aren't feeling gimmicky. It's not like there's so many times you have crossovers and stuff, and they don't feel like their series, whether it's a game, a movie, whatever it is, right? But by now episode 3 of Season 3, this is much bigger than a quartet. We got Eminence and Shadow. Cautious Hero, I don't know if Cautious Hero is going to ever come back because it kind of just upped and left, which is very much in line with Seiya, so I'm going to include him into the discussion because that feels like how Cautious Hero would be, all things considered. You could introduce the vending machine isekai, and I'm sure that would fit right in. But seeing the number of situations, and one of my favorite things to do with this show is, yeah, I'm enjoying what's happening in the foreground, but I'll always examine in the background, and I'll be like, oh, is that Shaltier talking with this character? Or just the fact that the development of recent anime situations, like I pointed out, I think it was in last week's video, about how basically Subaru is always holding Beatrice's hand, which if this was Season 1, he wouldn't be doing that, but because of all the development in recent seasons, he does that. And just the fact that every character pairing feels like it was wrote by their author. But then when you end up with character pairings like the reason a character like Ainz is interacting with a character like Sid, and you're like, okay, the way their dialogue's being portrayed, it's like, no, this is how it should function. We know Sid is all about the shadows and the chuny bullshit, and a character like Ainz, he's naturally going to be drawn to, and he's going to be like asking some poetic, like, what do you think? Is there shadows? Is there darkness behind shadow? Like, he's just saying some dumb shit, but you're like, that's how Sid would be, and you totally expect Ainz would play the role of like, oh, you're not ready for that question, and internally he'd be like, what the hell is this guy saying? I don't understand. Yes, it's fan servicey. I Am Atomic, fan servicey moment last week. When Sid eventually pulls out the grand piano for one of his entrances, it's going to feel fan servicey for those Eminence and Shadow fans. But the reason this show is more than just situational humor is that you legitimately feel like the characters are wrote by their original authors, despite it being such a wide variety of isekai series. I don't know. And hey, just a quick reminder before we continue this video, a lot of you aren't subscribed. I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe. Check if you are subscribed. You might not be, think you are. Just helps out. In the analytics, a lot of you who watch aren't subbed, so consider subbing. It does help out a lot. Anyway, let's get back to the video. Like, I don't want to say it's the best, but the more I see and the more I think about how the show functions, the more impressed I become, to the point that I truly think I have more kind of shock and awe that a series like this functions as well as it does than I do any of the isekai that I put as some of my all-time favorites. Like, I'm not saying Isekai Quartet is the best anime of all time, but I think if we actually take a step back and examine how these characters are written, and that we've gotten now 3 seasons, and I'm pretty confident in saying the entirety of season 3 will have me saying this, mind you. 3 seasons in a movie, well past a quartet, you could introduce probably any isekai into this, and it will probably function. And it will feel like not only did their original authors write these scenes, but most importantly, if you take a Konosuba character interacting with a Saga character, take a Cautious Hero character interact with this character, you feel like that's probably how it should write. And I don't believe any of the original authors work on this show. If I'm mistaken, my apologies. But whether or not that's the case, even if you took, like, just imagine, every single author wrote their own character. You still have to figure out a way for those authors to work together to make these characters interact in their respective ways. It's still a challenge. And there should have been cracks shown by now. But I don't recall one. I really don't. I think every season has been good, and I feel like they're mostly the same quality. There's sometimes jokes that excel past, and I think introducing Eminence and Shadow probably will make this to be the best season, just because it's a character that should have been a part of the quartet from the beginning. Just unfortunately, the anime wasn't around when it first started out. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Saga of Tanya the Evil is the show that sticks out like a sore thumb. Not that it's bad, I'm glad they did, because we got so many interesting pairings like Ainz and Tanya. But at the end of the day, a show like Shield Hero or Eminence and Shadow feels like it would have naturally been one of the 4 to begin with. It's just obviously when the show was first made, you know, that's just how it happened. But either way, great stuff, and honestly, I continue to laugh at the fact that the voice actor for Tanya has voiced Tanya more these years for a spin-off series rather than her own main anime. Yes, I know season 2 supposedly happening next year according to leaks, but it still cracks me up the more I think about it. I don't know if people will be like, Brandon, you're an idiot, what are you smoking? Or people will be like, hey, you know, I kind of see where you're coming from. The more you think about it, the more it's like, these characters shouldn't work as well as they do, given the wide variety of series. But I'm being dead ass. I think this is unironically one of the most impressive isekai, and for being just a dumb little chibi short that we watch once a week for 10-ish weeks, every so often, they do a hell of a good job, if you ask me. But let me know your thoughts. What are you thinking? Do you agree with me, or do you think I'm crazy for liking Isekai Quartet this much? Let me know. Drop a like, show your support, though. Subscribe if you're new around your Patrons, where you catch those full live reactions to all this and more. And hey, I also like to give video shout outs to my patrons. So today we got Golden Angel 1517, Ashura, Thrilled Axis 709, Proof Space, SW Me, Nanodog, Durhosh, and we also have Franklin Greenway. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. You all have a good one.